Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Salima here, and today I'm so excited to chat with you about two brand new luxury foundations in my collection, the Givenchy Prisme Libre Glow Foundation and the Guerlain Terracotta Glow. I have been playing with these for a little while now, so I'm dying to share my thoughts with you all. And because I love a good comparison, we are comparing them against my all time favorite, glowy, naturally radiant looking foundations to see if they truly live up to the hype. So, if you're curious about these new launches, settle in, make yourself comfy, and let's get started. I'm gonna start with the Givenchy Prisme Libre Glow Serum Foundation. They used to have a glow foundation in similar packaging. I think it was called the Skin Caring Glow Foundation, which has been discontinued and it's replaced by this Serum Glow Foundation. I purchased mine from Sephora in the shade 4.5W. They market this as a serum foundation, and I think they're pretty spot on. It really does have that true silky serum texture. Like I can feel it the second it hits my skin. It's got that slippery feel, almost like when you slather on a really good hyaluronic acid serum or any super hydrating serum, really. It's exactly that feeling. And you guys know I have dry skin, right? So when I was testing this, I actually wore it without any primer underneath just to see how it performed. And I could totally tell the difference. It felt incredibly hydrating and comfortable on my skin all day, while still somehow managing to feel super lightweight. In my experience, this foundation delivers a solid medium coverage. I was able to cover all my redness and most of my discoloration with just one pump. It really evened out my skin tone. I also tried building it up on some areas where I need a little extra help, and it built beautifully. No cakiness, no patchiness whatsoever. One of my biggest concerns with foundation is how they handle my skin texture and my dry patches. So I wore it for 10 hours straight, no setting powder or spray, and it didn't cling to any of my dry areas. It actually made my skin look smoother. It has a blurring effect on the skin, and I can tell that my skin looked more refined and airbrushed with a subtle glow. This isn't your typical glowy foundation. It has a very skin like finish with a soft sheen. It's the kind of glow that looks natural and effortless. I am very impressed with this foundation. Next, I wanted to talk about the Guerlain Terracotta Lit Tint Glow Foundation. I purchased mine from Nordstrom in the shade 3.5W. When I was ordering this, I realized I have never actually tried any Guerlain complexion products. No foundations, no concealers, nothing. So I was a little nervous about the shade match, but I think I nailed it. 3.5W is pretty spot on for me. This foundation is definitely on the runnier side. It's very fluid, almost watery consistency, and that really helps to spread it on my skin easily. I really prefer this kind of texture for my everyday foundation. It's just so easy to work with. In terms of coverage, I would describe this as a light to medium. With just one pump, I got a light coverage, so it evened out my skin tone, covered some of the redness, and gave me that natural, your skin but better look. I tried adding a second layer where I wanted more coverage, and it built so easily without any cakiness or patchiness. It's really versatile in the sense that you can customize your look depending on your needs. It makes my skin look fresh and hydrated. Just like the Givenchy foundation, it doesn't have an overly luminous finish. It mimics the look of hydrated skin without being overly dewy. As always, I wore it for a full 10 hours and my skin looked just as good at the end of the day. No extra shine, no fading, no creasing. It just stayed fresh. I'm honestly so happy with this purchase. It makes me want to try more from Guerlain. So if you guys have any Guerlain makeup recommendations, please let me know in the comments. Now, the big question is, how do these two compare? Honestly, they're pretty similar in a lot of ways, but It's those little nuances that makes all the difference, right? In my experience, the Givenchy is like a super luxurious skincare serum that just happens to give you that amazing coverage. But the best part of this foundation is that blurring effect. Seriously, it makes my skin look noticeably smoother, like I've been airbrushed. The Guerlain foundation, on the other hand, is all about that fresh, hydrated, your skin but better vibe. It's like I've just finished doing my skincare routine and I'm glowing from inside out. It has become my everyday go to foundation. The Givenchy starts with a solid medium coverage, while the Guerlain is more of a light to medium, but totally buildable. Neither of these foundations are overly dewy, so if you usually avoid dewy foundations because of your skin type, or if you live in a hot and humid place, you can totally give these a try. Basically, if you want that polished, perfected look, Givenchy is your best bet. But if you are all about that natural, effortless, lit from within glow, then Guerlain is your answer. Of course, these are just my thoughts, but I would love to hear what you guys think. Now, we're going to see how these new foundations stack up against some of my tried and tested foundations. So, the first one is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. This is one of the very few foundations in my collection that I've repurchased, considering the mountain of foundations I own. Texture and coverage wise, it actually reminds me a lot of the Guerlain Glow Foundation. They both have that super fluid, lightweight feel and light to medium coverage. You can wear it as an everyday foundation, which I did for ages, or you can build it up for a more polished, special occasion look. It blends easily and wears beautifully all day. The one difference I've noticed is that Armani foundation does have a blurring effect, similar to the Givenchy. It's not quite as perfecting and smoothing as the Givenchy. I think Givenchy definitely takes the crown for blurring, but Armani is a close second. For those of you who are sensitive to fragrance, the Armani is way less intense than Guerlain. You know that signature Guerlain floral scent? It's pretty potent, but thankfully, it fades really fast. The Armani is much more subtle. Next, I have the Dior Hydra Nude Foundation. It's Dior's newest foundation launch, and I have already reviewed it on my channel. But I wanted to compare it to the Givenchy foundation because I find them so similar. They both have that skincare infused serum like texture that just melts into your skin. They both feel incredibly hydrating on my dry skin. It's like a big drink of hydration, which I absolutely love. But the main difference lies in the coverage. The Dior Hydra Nude offers a light, natural coverage. However, you do have the ability to build it up, which I often do. And honestly, when I built up the Dior and compare it to the Givenchy, they both look so similar on my skin. So if you're a fan of the Dior Hydra Nude and you love that hydrating serum-like feel, you're going to adore Givenchy. It's like the Dior, but with a boost of coverage and that amazing blurring effect that we just talked about. Oh, and before we move any further, if you're enjoying this video and finding it helpful, please give it a big thumbs up. I absolutely love doing these makeup roundups and comparisons. So, if you are into this kind of content, hit that subscribe button. I've got a lot more coming your way. All right, so next up, I wanted to see how the Chanel Le Beige foundation compares to these two new launches. And after wearing them side by side, I have got to say, it's definitely most comparable to the Givenchy foundation. They both give you that lovely medium coverage and they both have that skin like finish with a subtle glow and that soft focus blurring effect. Now, even though Chanel creates some absolutely stunning complexion products, and this La Beige foundation is no exception, but finding my shade was a bit of a journey. Seriously, it took me so many trials and errors to finally nail it. I did not face any of those shade matching struggles with the Givenchy though. It was so much easier to find my perfect shade. Not too light, not too warm, just right. But again, this is just my experience. But when it comes to the actual finish and feel, they're super comparable. Both wear beautifully throughout the day with minimal fading or settling into the lines. Now that you guys have a good look at how these Givenchy and Guerlain foundations stack up against some other luxury options in my collection, I also wanted to chat about some high end brands that offer fantastic alternatives, just in case if you're looking for something a bit more wallet friendly. The first one that pops into my head is the Ciele Tint and Protect Serum Foundation. I have been raving about this for a long time, and in my opinion, it can hold on its own against so many luxury foundations. It's got that serum infused texture and it just feels incredibly hydrating and weightless on the skin. Like, I can barely feel it. Plus, it's got SPF 50 using all the mineral sunscreen filters. So it's like that perfect combination of makeup and skincare. Coverage wise, I get a solid medium and it sets down to this beautiful natural finish. However, if you have got combo or oily skin, especially if you live somewhere hot and humid, you'll probably want to set this with a light dusting of powder. I have got dry skin, and even in the summer, after a 10-hour day, I just get a little shiny on my T zone, which is pretty normal since I don't usually set my face. But if you are oily skin, definitely set it for longer wear. The only thing I wish they change is the packaging. This dropper can get a little messy, but honestly, I love this foundation so much, I'm willing to overlook it. Also, it's fragrance free, so if you tend to avoid fragrance in your makeup, this is perfect. Lastly, I want to talk about the Laura Mercier Weightless Waterproof Foundation. For some reason, it went viral on TikTok and then, everyone moved on. I think it deserves way more hype. If you wanted to try the new Givenchy or Guerlain foundations, but you think they're not quite as dewy or glowy for your liking, then this is a good option for you. Even though it has a thin and fluid consistency, when I apply it, I notice it has a rich emollient feel. It's not oily or greasy at all, but it makes my skin feel incredibly supple and smooth, almost like I've just applied a super nourishing serum. What I love the most is how well it lasted all day. My skin looked radiant and fresh from morning till night. Because it's a waterproof formula, I have found that it holds up incredibly well in hot and humid weather. I have worn this during multiple outdoor events, and even when I was sweating, it barely budged. Also, it's fragrance free, which is fantastic if you are sensitive to scents in makeup. All right, my friends, that's a wrap on today's foundation deep dive. I really hope this video helped you figure out if the new Guerlain and Givenchy foundations are worth a try for you. I always love doing these comparisons because not everyone has the time or the ability to go in store and swatch everything, right? Also, I really want you guys to be able to decide if a new product is truly unique and worth your money, or if you already have something similar hiding in your collection that deserves a little rediscovering. Honestly, I just love making these videos and I really hope you enjoyed it too. So, on that note, stay healthy, stay beautiful, stay kind, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye.